noticed that it was freezing a little bit there, so just give it a second. Here we go. All right, just wanted to confirm that we were live. Here we go. Good old technology. So yes, what I was saying is if you need a blanket, just for some of the poses that we'll be doing on the knees, have a blanket close by, or if you might not even need one. And the suggestion I have for the blanket is when we are on the knees, if you find having that blanket right underneath the knees is still causing that compression. So even if we're here for a little bit, we have that extra cushioning. I like to just slide that blanket back. If you've seen some of my other classes, I do say that. Now with the blanket more towards my shins, my knees are floating. So now there's no compression on my knees. So just a little tidbit there to give a little bit of TLC to your knees. So we are going to start class off in reclined butterfly. So just come on down to the ground, to the mat. Ooh, still waking up. Here we go. Arms are out. I like to have them a little bit more than 45-degree angle for my body, my hands and my arms. My legs, where this is our first pose, I'm not going into a deep butterfly. It's a little bit further away with the palms of my feet. And we're just going to be here for a moment or so, not too long. And I want you to focus in on your natural breath. Just feel the natural flow of the inhalation and the exhalation. Now let's sink a little bit deeper into our breath here. I want you to exhale through the nose. Now inhale through the nose nicely. Through the nose, exhale. Breath in. Through the nose, exhale. One more, breath in. Hold the breath at the top. And exhale through the mouth. Return to your natural breath. Now gently bring the knees up towards each other. So your hands are on the outside of the legs. And you can bring your feet about hip width apart. Knees are hip width apart. And just windshield wash, windshield wipe the knees side to side, nice and gentle. They don't have to come all the way down to the floor, especially where it's morning for us right now. The back and the hips may not want to go that far in the twist. And then bring the knees back up to center. Bring a little bit more awareness into how the lower back and the hips are doing, and even with the thighs and the hamstrings and glutes. We're going to go into a reclined threaded needle, or reclined pigeon. So I want you to leave your left foot grounded on the mat, and you're just going to take your right foot and cross it over so the right ankle is on the left thigh. This may be enough for you. You're like, yeah, this is good. I'm not warmed up yet, so I'm just going to stay right here. Or you can raise that left foot up off the mat, bring the hands through either to hold on to the thigh, hamstring, or of the right leg, or you can do it onto the left hamstring. So wherever your mobility is right now, remember we haven't warmed up yet. Smooth breath. You're going to release that left foot onto the ground, uncross the right, And then let's switch sides. Bring that left across. So left ankle is on the right thigh. Remember, this may be enough. You're like, I don't want to go any further. Or you're going to raise that right leg up off the ground. You can hold the outside of that left leg, or you can bring the hands around that thigh, clasping on the hamstring. So making sure that your breath is smooth. So you feel like you're starting to constrict the breath, or it's getting restricted, just come back to it, a smooth inhalation and exhalation. I'll remind you through the whole practice. There's no right or wrong when it comes to the flow of your breath. I guess we just don't want to hold the breath, right? We want to have that connection into the poses. You're going to release that right foot down on cross. Again, if you want to do that windshield wiper motion side to side. Promise we're going to get moving here. I'm going to bring the knees in towards my chest and just give myself a gentle spinal massage side to side. And I'm going to allow myself to completely go onto my side, like rolling over to a fetal position, just to give myself that little push to come up on my mat. And I'm actually going to make my way right up to Tadasana, mountain pose. So however safely you want to get up there, we're going to move into our sun salutations. This morning, we're going to go right into a sun salute B, and we're going to be doing 2 full rounds. So that'll be our nice little warm-up before going through our flow. So making your way towards the top of your mat, you know the space that you have around you. I want you in Tadasana to bring those feet hip-width apart. And actually, even before we start moving and even becoming more familiar with Tadasana, I want you, like I said, have the feet hip-width apart, but if it's still not natural, just do a few little stomps here or knee lifts, and then just allow the feet to come down naturally. Now let's try that one more time. First, I want you to bring your feet together. You're like, oh, this is kind of weird. We have that little angle there. For some people, this feels good, or their brain is programmed to think this is where the feet want to go. But we want to bring the feet hip-width apart, have that beautiful alignment all the way from the ankles up to the hips. So again, we could get to this point and it still doesn't feel right. So just do a nice little marching in the spot and allow the feet to get planted naturally in your mountain pose. I'm going to turn the other way so I'm the length of my mat. So from here, I'm just going to do my little stomp. Allow the shoulders to relax away from the ears. My chin is parallel with the mat. I'm going to tighten the glutes just to feel that activation of the muscles just below the thighs and taking that tension off the hamstrings, giving protection to my lower back. I'm pushing my feet into the ground. So we now have muscle activation. Now release that activation. You're going to take in a nice deep breath. Now exhale into chair, Uttanasana. So your arms can be coming up on that angle, or they can be parallel. Or if you're really tired, bring them to prayer on the thighs. We're not here very long. You're going to inhale. Exhale, fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. You're going to inhale, step or jump back to your plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward dog, unless you prefer the cobra. Exhale, downward dog. You're going to inhale, right foot between the hands. Come into a beautiful crescent warrior. Face is relaxed, arms are up overhead, shoulders away from the ears. Bring those hands down. Step back to your plank and flow. You're now in downward dog. You're going to bring that left foot between the hands. Come into that beautiful crescent warrior. Smooth breath. Bring the hands down. Flow. You're going to come down chaturanga. Upward dog. Downward dog. You're going to either jump or step the feet between the hands. Flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, chair. Push through the feet. Hands together in front of the heart. Release the hands down. We're going to do that whole flow one more time, another sun salute B. You're going to exhale. Inhale to chair. Exhale, fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. Step or jump back to plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward dog. Exhale, downward dog. Inhale, right foot between the hands, come into your beautiful crescent. Bring those hands down, step back to plank, chaturanga, upward dog, downward dog. Left foot forward, raise those arms up. Arms down. Chaturanga. Upward dog. Downward dog. Remember, you can step or jump the feet between the hands. Flat back. Fold. Uttanasana, coming into our chair. All the way up. If you want, bring the palms together. And Juli Mudra in front of the heart. Hands down. Mountain pose. Before we move into our first sequence here, I want you to bring yourself back to your breath. We got the body moving. Breath might be a little bit ragged. Focusing on the inhalation and exhalation through the nose. And while you're in mountain, take a look at the feet. Do they feel like they're not exactly where they want to be? Take that time, a gentle march. Place the feet where they naturally want to go in line with the hips. Our first sequence is with a little bit of balancing here. So remember, you can always do different variations and modifications to these poses. So we're going to start with tree pose. I want you to root the right foot into the mat. Find that focal point forward, slightly down. But depending on how the brain's feeling this morning, for some of us it could be forward, like straight forward, a little spot on the wall, or it could be forward, slightly up. So see what feels most natural and balancing for the brain. Hands are on the hips, shoulders away from the ears. Lean onto that right foot, activate that right leg, make sure there's a micro bend in that knee, and come into tree pose. So for tree, your foot can be where the toes are still touching the ground, so the foot is gently on the ankle. It can be on the shin, or it can be up on the thigh. Choosing that hand position, I'm just going to bring them in front of prayer and Juli Mudra right now. Smooth breath. Moving to Shiva, which is a knee raise. So the left foot is going to release from your leg, bent knee, left foot flexed, arms out to a T, but the palms are facing inwards. Smooth breath. We're holding each pose between 3 to 5 breaths. Now, with as much control as possible, you're going to step back to a crescent warrior. I'm going to bring my arms overhead, giving myself a gentle back bend. It does feel okay on my spine. If the back bend doesn't feel good, just keep your torso up and spines like the vertebrae stack on top of each other. And now we're going to flow. So bring those hands down, step back to plank, and go through your flow unless you just want to go right to downward dog. So from downward dog, you're going to walk those feet forward. You can step them, or sorry, jump them forward, but I'm just going with a nice gentle step today. And I'm just going to roll up one vertebra at a time. Coming back to mountain pose. Again, finding that position for the feet, the gentle march. Then standing in stillness. We're going to get ready for that sequence on the other side. So with the left foot pushing, so it's the outside of the left foot, left heel, micro bend in that left leg. Find your drishti, hands either on the hips or in front of the heart, and make your way into tree, lifting that right leg up, choosing which one works best for you. Smooth breath. Making our way into Shiva, which is our raised, bent knee, right foot is flexed, arms up at a cactus, Shiva arms, palms facing towards each other. My fingers aren't loose, my hands aren't limp, I'm activating the hands. Making your way back to a crescent warrior. Remember, if you want a little gentle arch to the spine, you can add that. If not, keep that torso straight, smooth breath. And we're going to flow. Bring those hands down, step back to your plank, and go through your chaturanga, upward dog, and downward dog. Remember, at any point, if you need to grab a beverage, I have my coffee here, so I might stop once in a blue moon, we'll see. But you're going to meet me in downward dog. From downward dog, you're going to root that left heel down to the ground. Bring the right leg up behind you to a three-legged dog, and then bend that right knee and step the right foot between the hands. We're coming into a crescent warrior, but this time we're bringing that back knee down for a low lunge, low crescent warrior. So the back toes can stay tucked or untucked. Remember, if you need that little support underneath the knee, place it there. I'm going to bring the arms up overhead, shoulders away from the ears. Smooth breath. Bringing the hands down for support on the floor. I'm sending my sit bones back, coming into a half split. So I'm allowing my right foot to lift up off the mat, pointing my toes, or actually flexing my foot so my toes are trying to point towards my head. I'm feeling a beautiful stretch into my hamstring. It's morning, so I'm feeling this from my right glute down into my hamstring. If you have that capability and you want to sit further back, you can. Now bring your weight back forward, come into that low lunge, and we're going to come into a revolving twist. So you can leave that back knee down, you're going to tuck the toes underneath, come on up,
left hand on the inside of the right foot, or you can hook your left tricep on the outside of the right leg. Hands are at prayer. You're going to allow yourself to unrevolve yourself. Come back with the hands down, and we're going to flow. Step back to that plank. Tighten the glutes to support the lower back. Come on down. Flow forward, upward dog. And exhale, downward dog. Let's get ready to do this sequence on the left side. So you're going to root the right heel down. You're going to inhale, left leg up to a three-legged dog. Bend the knee, shift it forward, left foot between the hands. Bring that right knee this time down to the ground for our low lunge. Remember, take this time, have that blanket close by if you need that support underneath the knee. Face is relaxed. Getting a little bit more into the hips and the pelvis on the second sequence. And just a heads up, on the third sequence, we go a little bit deeper. You're going to bring those hands down. Send the hamstrings, the sit bones back. Point the left toes up. Get that beautiful stretch on the back part of the leg. Smooth breath. Releasing that left foot down, bending that left knee, coming into the revolving twist on the other side. So remember, the back knee can be down, or you can lift it. Right hand on the inside of that left foot, and you can open up, or if you want to bring the right forearm, tricep, prayer hands, or whatever variation works for you. Smooth breath. Release your twist and come into a flow. Or again, if you just want to make your way to downward dog, make your way to downward dog. Woohoo! All right. Sequence 3, guys. Here we go. You're going to root the left heel down. Come into a three-legged dog with that right leg. This time, bend the knee. Just give yourself a nice opening so you can stack the hips. And now sweep that right foot forward. Rotate the back foot, making your way to warrior 2. So arms are out to a T, not dangling or uneven. Bring your arms if you can create that nice straight line. Also though, remember, if our shoulder joints are built differently or we're tighter or more on one side than the other, there may be a little bit where you can't get those arms in that straight line. If you can't, and when you try to, there's compression and pain, go with what feels most natural for you. We want to bring those fingers together, creating work going up into the tricep, shoulders away from the ears. Look over those right fingers. Reverse warrior. Gently bring that left hand down, turn the front palm up, and exhale into a beautiful reverse warrior. For myself, I always want to bring my feet a little bit wider here, just because it feels better for me. You kind of listen to how the feet feel, if they need to go a little bit closer, a little bit further apart, or stay exactly where they are. You're going to come back up to a warrior 2, but continue with windmilling the arms down. Rotate that back heel, gently bring that knee down. We're coming into lizard. So again, we're going to be on that back knee. Add that cushioning if you need it. Now, with your right foot, make sure both hands are on the inside of that right leg, and you're going to bring the right foot to the edge of your mat. So my foot's lined up with the right side edge of my mat.
From here, you can tuck those back toes, raise that back knee off, or you may be good here. You can stay on the hands, or if you want some height, some blocks or blankets, or you can come all the way down. Also, you can gently push the right leg out, lifting the right sole of the foot, pointing inwards towards your mat. So, and you can even twist. Going to come back to center. If that right sole of the foot was up, bring it down. You're wiggling your right foot across. We're coming into pigeon. If this is too much with that leg extending the back, please come into recline pigeon, which is just like threading the needle at the beginning that we did at the beginning of the class. So now my shin, knee is down for my right leg. My back leg is extended. Toes are pointing. Pigeon 1. You can stay here or you can fold forward to your pigeon. Make sure that your sit bones are equally not going onto the right sit bone and kind of rotating. We want both sit bones parallel to each other. Smooth breath. If you're in pigeon 2, walk those hands back. Tuck the back toe. You can make your way either to table, downward dog, or go through a flow. Woo-hoo-hoo.
Let's do that sucker on the other side. You're gonna root the right heel down. Bring that left leg up behind you. Bend the knee. Get a little opening with the hips. And then swoop left foot forward. Rotate the back foot. Coming into warrior 2. So I'm gonna have where I'm facing away from the camera. So you can just see the outline of the back posterior part of my body. So I'm playing with the width of my feet. Tightening my glutes to support my back. Feet are pressing and pulling my mat apart. Arms at a T. Shoulders away from the ears. And just do a little facial check here. Make sure the face is relaxed. Part those back teeth. Drop the tongue down from the roof of the mouth. Reverse warrior. Smooth breath. Windmill those hands down. Rotate that back heel. Gently bring the right knee down. Wiggle the left foot to the edge side of the left side of the mat. Let's make our way into lizard. So remember with lizard, this may be enough. You may be able to bring those forearms down. This may be where you want to go. Or you can bring that little opening with a gentle twist. Smooth breath. Come on back with that left leg up, left sole of the foot back on the mat. If you had that little twist, you're gonna wiggle the left foot across. We're coming into pigeon. So remember, if it's easier to come into recline pigeon, like we did at the beginning, threading the needle, you can come into that. So just allow yourself to come into pigeon 1 for a moment. Play a little wiggle with the hips where you're feeling that sensation, that stretch. And then move into whatever variation works for you. You can stay up in one, you can come down onto the forearms, stacking the fists so the forehead can come down. You may want to get a deeper stretch into the back of the neck, so tucking the chin in towards the chest. Or you may want to just extend those arms and come into pigeon 2.
From pigeon, walk those hands back and go through a flow or wherever you need to go right now, even if you want to grab a beverage.
So we are going to meet in downward dog. We're going to work a little bit on our core here, just for a moment or so. So what I want you to do first from downward dog is see what kind of anchoring you have with your hands. So the fingers are spread, the palms are pushing down, and the fingers are gripping the mat. You're going to shift your weight forward, coming into a plank. Tighten the glutes. If you're in a 4-point plank, which means it's just the hands and the toes, make sure that your sit bones, your tailbone is just a little bit higher than the rest, or higher than the lower back. Tightening the glutes, tighten the abs. I'm looking about a foot ahead. If this is too much, please gently bring the knees down. But make sure your knees aren't in line with the hips. That's more like a table. We're going to come into side plank here for a few breaths. Root the right hand or the right forearm into your mat. And you're going to open yourself up to the left. So that bottom knee can come down, if that's easier and feels better. You can have that left arm extended or alongside the body, whatever feels good. Come back to full plank. And we're going to make our way to the left. So root that left hand or left forearm into the mat. Open yourself up to the right. Come back to plank. Gently bring your knees down. Send your sit bones back to child's pose just for a moment here. Give yourself a break. We're going to come into an extended puppy pose. So bring your sit bones up from the heels. So you're kind of coming into your table. Have your knees directly underneath your hips. So again, if that's support of a blanket underneath the knees or the shins, take this time to place it there. From here, I'm going to just make sure that my hips stay in line with my knees. We don't want them to come forward or to go back. Okay? From here, I'm going to just slowly start allowing my fingers to go forward, extending my arms, which is bringing me into puppy. So your forehead could be on the mat. This might be too much. You can bring the arms back and stack the fists, or have the arms crossed and have the forehead on the top arm. Or you may have that mobility where you're able to bring the chin onto the mat, but only do that if you know for yourself that you have that mobility in the cervical spine. We don't want compression and pain. You're going to walk your hands back. You're going to root your right hand into the ground. Come on up, almost like you're coming into table. I'm going to open up myself to the left, extending my left arm up, and I'm threading my left arm between my right arm, hand, and right leg. It's like a little threading the needle puppy pose version. So I'm rotating. And what you can do is you can just bend that elbow with the right hand, or eventually you can extend the arm up away. We're going to come out of it. I'm just sliding my right hand back, pushing it into the ground, opening my left up again, my left arm and hand, and then bringing it down. We're going to do the exact same thing on the other side. So extend your right arm up, open the chest, and now thread that right hand and arm between the left hand and left leg. You can leave that left hand mount, pushing into the mat, or you can extend the left arm. And if you feel like your hips are kind of wonky, just move your hips a little bit to the right, and it'll help you feel more centered. Not a huge movement, just a little micro movement. Because my left hand and arm are extended towards the front of my mat, I'm going to bring my left hand back, bending that left elbow, push up, then opening myself to the right. And releasing that right hand down. So I'm going to kind of move side to side in my table. And I'm going to send my sit bones back. So I'm sitting on my heels, coming up into rock pose or hero. But we're going to make our way into a butterfly pose. And you can add the fold forward or not. So we're doing this because we did some nice little back bends there. So we want to do a little bit of a counter pose. So I'm going to bring the soles of my feet together. Bringing my feet in as close as possible. That's comfortable for my hips and towards the groin. If this is too much, you can slide those feet further away. It'll just tackle a different part into the legs. So this may be enough. You're going to inhale, straight spine, shoulders away from the ears. Exhale, if you're going to come into a fold, hinge at your hips so you can keep your spine to stay straight until your hips are like, I'm good. Then you can allow the back to round and tuck the chin in towards the chest if you want a deeper stretch into the back of the neck. You're going to slowly roll up. Always be gentle coming out of these poses. Bring your hands on the outside of the knees. Bring the knees up together. And you can windshield wipe the legs side to side. And we're going to go into a reclined spinal twist. So making your way down the back, so knees can be bent, feet on the floor. We're slowly roll down onto the back. Before we go into the pose, let's take a look here on where the knee placement and the foot placement is. So for my knees, I'm going to make sure that they're, right now first, that they're hip width apart. I'm just going to bring my feet in a little bit closer. I'm going to bring my arms out to a T. If this doesn't feel stable for you, you can have the arms at a fork, or even just down flat on the mat, so see whatever feels good. I'm going to just readjust my sit bones and my lower back because I felt like I was in centered. And I'm going to bring the feet up off the mat. Have my knees in line with my hips. If this is too intense or doesn't feel good, you can keep the feet on the floor. You're going to flex your feet and I'm going to bring the knees down to the right. Wherever that rotation stops, place maybe that blanket or support underneath. If you're floating, that's okay because that's your rotation, but the goal here is to allow that left shoulder and shoulder blade to stay on your mat because the moment it lifts, you lose that twist. I'm going to look over my left arm. And just imagine yourself melting into your mat. Nice, smooth breath in and out of the nose. We're going to do 3 breaths here. You're going to take in a nice deep breath through the nose. And through the nose, exhale.
Breath in. Through the nose, exhale. Taking a nice deep breath. Through the mouth, exhale. You're going to bring those knees back up to center, neck in line with the spine if you rotate it looking to the left. And now do the exact same thing, bringing the knees down to the left. Remember, we want that right shoulder to remain on the mat. If you need support underneath the knees, have it there. I'm looking over to my right hand and closing my eyes. Let's add that breath work. You're going to inhale through the nose. Through the nose, exhale. Breath in. Through the nose, exhale. Taking a nice deep breath. Through the mouth, exhale. Return to your natural breath. Bring the neck back in line with the spine, knees back up to center. You can give yourself a nice gentle spinal massage here if you'd like. And then making your way onto your side and coming up to a seated cross-leg position. Unless you prefer to come into Shavasana, where this is a morning class, I'd like to end the class in a seated position. So allowing those hands to come down, shoulders away from the ears if you're in Sukhasana. If it's Shavasana, your knees can be bent, feet flat on the floor, or those legs can be extended. Close your eyes. If you're sitting in Sukhasana, we're just going to come into a gentle twist. You're going to inhale, exhale, gently twist to the right. And you can rotate the neck to what's comfortably possible in your rotation. Face is soft. And then come back to center. Make your way to the left. Gentle twist. Coming back to center. If you're in Shavasana and you want to stay there, you can stay there. In Sukhasana, bring your hands to Anjuli Mudra prayer pose. Prayer hands in front of the heart, eyes are closed. Feel the beautiful natural breath in and out of the nose. I'm going to end the class on one Om. You're more than welcome to join, or you can just listen. I'm going to take in a nice deep breath. Namaste, Kala. Thank you so much for joining me this morning, or if you're watching the recording. Any questions or concerns, or just want to chat, you can reach me on Instagram at Yoga in Small Spaces. On Facebook, our Yoga in Small Spaces with Cheryl, or you can send me an email at yogainSmallSpaces@gmail.com. We have 2 more live classes, or another set of live classes next week, Tuesday evenings and Wednesday morning. And there will be some on demand. If you have a subscription, you have full access to this. You'll have this recording later in today, and then however long your subscription lasts, I hope forever. And yeah, have a great one. Thank you so much. Mm-hmm.